Hey, what's up, guys? So today I was in a metropolis again, a city. I was walking around. It was. Starting to realize the younger generation, or just regular, people in their 20s and 30s. Right now, mostly the people in their 20s are pretty tall, and I've been noticing the height difference. I'm like 5'10", 5'11", between there. But most people I'm seeing nowadays, younger people, are around 6'1", 6'2". So one thing I notice is that, when I see the prettiest girls, they're always with guys that are really tall. They're guys that are at least 6 foot. Most of the time when I see pretty girls. So, sorry, I'm making some steak right now. Definitely it has an effect on the self-esteem, It's definitely like, I wonder to myself, like, as a guy who's 5'10", 5'11", do girls view me as a, suitable option for a long-term partner? I think a lot of women place feelings of safety, on when it comes to relationships. They place it on the guy. And I remember a French girl told me a while ago, she said, I told her, like, I'm not tall and I get with girls, blah, 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 this and that. And she said, yeah, you might get with girls, but you won't form relationships with girls taller than you. And I was questioning that. I was like, I was kind of arguing with that, but she told me girls might like sleep with you, might hang out with you, fool around with you, but when they're looking to be serious in a relationship, they're going to choose a guy. Like, the guy being taller than them is like a very important criteria for most women. I had a sad experience today, man. I was in New York, and there was this ballet girl that I met a while ago. She's very pretty, and I like this girl, and I got her number in the past, and I texted her, and she was texting back, and there was a good correspondence, etc. And then I asked her out, and then quiet, right? And then 2 weeks later, now, which is today, pretty much, I'm in the city, and I go to this Starbucks, and there's this giga couple in front of me, right? There's this dancer woman, that dancer girl, then like a dude who's like legit 6'5", and his face looks like Superman, even better than Superman. It's like a better face than Henry Cavill. And I was like, not better than Cavill, but he a very good looking guy, right? And so I was I was shorter than both of them. I think I was like I'm 5'10", and I felt small compared to both of these. So I realized that girl, the ballerina girl, that was her. She was in front, and the guy she was dating, the guy she was choosing, right? They were at a cafe together. He was much taller, and he was much better looking than me. And I was like, when I saw this girl the first time, I was thinking to myself, no, this girl has character. No, she's not one of those girls who's superficial and only cares about looks and this and that. She's definitely going to care about who the person is as an individual. And nope, wrong. Literally almost every single time I think a girl is, unique. She's got this. She's not like other girls. She cares about personality, this and that. It doesn't matter how a guy looks to her. She's not shallow. Almost every time that's happened, I'm always, disappointed. Now, exceptions do occur, right? But most of the time I realize, no, this girl's choosing this guy because of the way he looks. It's not because of who he is. And she's rejecting me based on how I look. It's not who I am. I come to that realization quite often, and it's sad when you meet a girl who you're like, oh, she's not. You start ascribing good qualities to her, like depth of character, intelligence, and you start thinking highly of her. And let's say she's nice to you at the same time, and you start getting thinking that something could happen from it, or you start thinking that she likes you and this and that, and then you see that she ends up dating some moronic Chad guy, like a guy who's good looking but is a complete fool. That happens all the time. I've seen the most. I've been stunned at, because I was blue pilled in the past. I have been stunned at the choice of that women have in men. I've been shocked to my foundation. Like I used to think, wow, this girl is like a great person and this and that. Then I started realizing she's dating this like drug addict, like drug dealer. It's crazy, man. Women's preference is something that most guys are not comfortable with. It's something is disappointing, to say the least. Give me 1 second. I got to put eggs into my pan. 1 second. I'm going to come back to this, dropping the knowledge bombs in a sec. Hold up. Let's see this egg situation. EVG Truth Cooking Time. Alright, this is a Mager salad right here. Mager steak salad. This is the meal of Chads. Hold up. I'm coming. 1 sec. Alright, there we go. This is going to be delicious. I'm doing some steak, eggs, bacon. Salt, pepper. Well, no pepper, actually. Alright, yeah, so it's pretty disappointing, man. I start realizing, it's like there's only one solution to getting out of that, miserable state, and that is becoming attractive. There's no other way around it. And it's disappointing. Like, here's the thing, guys. I have succeeded. I do get results. I'm not, I know that I'm not a Giga Chad or anything. I'm not super attractive. I'm attractive to the point where I could get laid. I could get girls. I'm at that point, right? Before, I was not even at that point, right? And but even at my point right now, it's still disappointing when you it's still hard. It's still not a satisfying existence when you realize how women are hardwired and how they choose things. I know that I'm not most women's first option. That's the thing that bugs me. I'm not the first option. You guys, after looks maxing and doing all the work you can, may not be the first option for most women, right? Like, I think to myself, okay, the ideal guy for a girl is generally tall, right? Very good facial structure, low body fat, preferably white, has blue eyes, has a deep voice, has a high-paying job or is very wealthy, and lives a fun lifestyle where he travels and explores, etc. There are guys like that out there, I'm not that. And I realize, most women would prefer that sort of guy, And so a lot of times, I realize, I'm talking to this girl, but I'm thinking to myself, but she could get a guy better that she prefers more than me, So it definitely affects his self-esteem, and doesn't feel right, doesn't feel good. But yeah, I think there's a lot of, I was talking to my buddy about this. I think there's going to be a lot of problems coming in the near future. Just from men waking up to the reality of life. It's a very it's a tough reality for most guys to acknowledge and accept. The difference and unfairness of life is staggering. You have kids who are like, you have guys who can get, they could almost have any girl they want. They have 20 girls that they're sleeping with at a time, and then you have guys who are, waiting to get a text back from a girl or get really excited if a girl that they like makes a like on their Insta. They flip out and they're like, oh, like having a parade if something like that happens. So, and guys are starting to realize it, right? The sub-5 guys are starting to realize the difference in life that, the Chad gets. And it definitely makes it definitely makes them upset. It makes me upset. And I'm not a sub 5, but it definitely makes me upset too. I'm like, but I'm thinking to myself, like, but I worked harder than this individual. I put a lot more effort into succeeding in life than this individual. And then it comes to the reality that, life is not just, it is not fair. It is a, as Will Durant, the writer Will Durant says, life is unfair. And he said, the unfairness of life is, he said something like, it's reminiscent of I completely forget this, I'm sorry. Reminiscent of, the injustice of life is reminiscent of, I'm sorry, I totally forget that quote. I used to know that entire chapter of that book. Yeah, guys, it was rough going through the city. I just realized that life is so much about. I understand there's a lot of guys who say face matters more than height, but I'm starting to argue at that point. I think because I see a lot of guys who are ugly who are very tall, and they can have very pretty girlfriends. They're even fat at times, but if they're tall, I think it gives them it's as if women think to themselves, he's possible because he's tall. He's possible. But if a guy is very short, a lot of women will, not accept him because of that. And there's a lot of, I don't know, I think I would rather be tall and ugly than be short and very good looking. But what I mean short is like I'm 5'10". Currently, in today's day and age, that's on the shorter side. Let's be real. Today's day and age, 6 foot is kind of like the average. 6 foot seems to be the average today. But let's say I could choose being very good looking and 5'5" versus being moderately ugly and 6'2" or 6'3". I think choosing the moderately ugly 6'3" is a lot better of a choice than choosing a Chad face at 5'5". I honestly, it's just from my experience, it's what I've seen. I was going through the city, and every single hot girl that I was seeing was almost always with a tall guy. And every time, you want to know something crazy? Every time I see a tall white guy who's like younger, like early 20s or like even, late teens, I almost always see that tall white dude with a girl. It's as if girls cling on to them. Tall, thin, pretty looking white guy with, let's say, blue eyes or whatever. It's almost always there's a girl with them. And, you guys might be thinking, oh, yeah, he probably asks her out and she just says yes. No, it's a lot of times this girl is trying to put herself into his space. She's trying to connect with this guy and cling on to this guy. Now, most guys don't understand what that's like. They don't understand that girls cling on to guys. Women are very secretive of their mating behavior. They're very secretive of it because throughout history, there's something called dual mating strategy, and it's basically manipulation, deception in probably the most severe way. It's basically a woman using a man for his resources, a beta provider for his resources, while she goes out and secretly reproduces with a genetically superior male. So, because of these things, there's a lot of secrecy involved with female sexual attraction. And a lot of moronic men have thought, they got all poetic about it and been like, women are like, they respond to, Zan Perion's one of these morons who is one of those guys who says, oh yeah, women love men that love women. He's like, he talks about the reason women love me is because I could see them for who they really are. Stupid stuff like that. And It's no, it's no. Women are secretive and, hide their sexual behaviors and their sexual ways of thinking and their strategies, etc. Because if that stuff were out in the open, they would not be able to succeed with their strategies. They would not be able to do a dual mating strategy if the beta provider knew that she was going and reproducing with a genetically superior male. It wouldn't work then. So they keep a lot of secrecy for their own benefit. A lot of times, for instance, if they have a boyfriend and let's say they meet a Chad the next day, they won't tell that Chad that they have a boyfriend. A lot of times they'll say, they might even call their current boyfriend a friend. They might even do that. I've seen this stuff. So when you look at that, you have to recognize that, female nature at an instinctual level is very at odds with morality. It's very at odds with what we today view as, ethics and morality. Deception like that is it's bigger than life, for a lot of people. It's bigger than life itself. A deception like that is monumental. Dual mating strategy is a monumental cost for a male. First of all, he puts all his resources into providing for and raising offspring that are not his own. And he's assuming that those are his own offspring. And the woman a lot of times knows. She knows whether they are his offspring or not. A lot of times they know. So it's and they know what they're doing. It's actually beyond it's behind their rational thought process. It's instinctual. It's something that has evolved for millions of years, and it is there because it is a successful genetic expression and a successful behavior, a behavior that entailed having offspring that would continue to have that behavior. That's why they're psychopaths today, okay? Because the psychopath was evolutionarily successful enough to pass on his genes, and the psychopathic gene stayed. And in today's day and age, people are becoming more and more psychopathic. They're becoming more and more narcissistic, more and more mental dark triad personalities, because in today's world, that type of personality can thrive. They can go from area to area, travel so easily, cut off ties easily, change their whole entire, life so easily if something goes wrong in one area. In the past, once those people got found out for what they did, they would be killed, or they'd be kicked out of the group, which is pretty much death back in those days. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. Yeah, I'm just like, it's the height thing today was just like, Jesus Christ. It's as if everyone attractive is tall. It's like, shorter guys they don't even try. A lot of shorter guys don't even try. They just view it as it's like completely over for them. And, maybe in today's time, who knows if that's the case. Anyways, it's, it was very unnerving seeing it. Not unnerving, but it was definitely impactful seeing that dancer girl that I met a while ago, and then getting into a huge conversation and so interested in this Superman looking dude. I was like, oh, no wonder you didn't call me, because you got this 6'5" Superman guy to talk to. Okay, that makes sense. So then I kind of left. Yeah, but the thing that made me feel bad about that is I was thinking to myself, this girl, she's the type who's going to choose a guy based on who he is as a person. She's very classy and intelligent woman. She's not a superficial, low quality monkey that just goes towards attractiveness. No way. She's high quality. Every time I've thought that about a woman, I'm always surprised. I'm always shocked at what I find out. I've seen the women's what women desire is not socially acceptable. Let's just put it that way. To say what they actually desire is not socially acceptable to express. Let's just put it that way. And I could say that about many, many things. What they desire is not socially acceptable, and they always keep it hidden. They keep it hidden, or they, just my whole life, what I've recognized is that I've never once had a scenario where I've seen a girl that I really like, and then she gets with a guy, and I'm like, that makes sense. That guy's a great person. I've almost never had that happen. Only once. Most of the time, the guy is not a great person. He's an average Joe, or doesn't have a very good character. He's below that even at times. Oh my God! One of the weirdest things I remember was when I lived in my apartment years ago in a place called Brooklyn in New York. And there was this severe drug addict who lived in my building. Like, literally, he's always doing drugs. He's on heroin. He's on Adderall. He's doing all this crazy shit. And he looks like a ghost. He does not look good. He does not look healthy. He does not look attractive. But he dresses in a way that's, cool, I guess you could say. He's, like, in the music field, and he's, like, a record producer or whatever. He's not a successful one. He was living in a shoddy-ass apartment. He was not financially well, nothing... Not a successful man. But he was like maybe 22, 23. And I was stunned when I saw him talking with one of the most innocent-looking, pure-hearted blonde girls I've ever seen. She's super nice. She's super oblivious. She's super sweet. And I was thinking to myself, like, what? Like, why is she hanging out with this dude? This guy was in a negative, aggressive... He would harass women in my building, because he'd play his music really loudly, and girls in my building would knock on his door, like slam on his door, tell him, "We're trying to sleep. Please stop with the music." And then he'd turn it on louder, and then they'd call the police, and the police would knock on his door and be like, "Listen, you got to turn down the music. This is, blah, blah, blah." And then he'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir," this and that. Then he'd close the door. Then he'd turn the music back up again, and the girls would shout, and he'd open the door, and he'd be like, start yelling at the girls, like flipping out, and start threatening the girls. And yeah, he's threatened women. He had such sketchy behavior. He had like some sort of like rivalry between his group of friends and another group of friends, and he was like the people that were, there was a group of kids coming to fight him, right? And he was walking around in the building with a knife, saying, "If they come in, I'm gonna stab them." So he's an unhinged, crazy drug addict, degenerate, loser. Really, he is. He's not good looking. He's it's like maybe 5'11". He's looks like a ghost. He looks very malnourished, skinny, very tired all the time. He looks very miserable, and his behavior is that of someone who has supreme, like, narcissistic personality disorder, like extraordinary. Like no one else exists except for him. That's like how he would behave. And then, to my surprise, the girl he's with and dating is one of the most innocent, sweet, nice, and really, really pretty, by the way. She was very attractive. Blonde girls I've seen. She was probably like 20 years old, and she liked him. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, oh my God. Like, I was thinking to myself, like, what? But here's the thing, guys. I've seen this stuff happen so many times, and it is so annoying to see that. I tell you, I get so like... I'm like thinking, I get so annoyed when I see stuff like that. And most women should absolutely be ashamed of themselves. Let's be real. They should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. This is what they are. This is what they go towards. And then they deceive, they deceive men into thinking that They want a guy who has his shit together, who's like, confident and hardworking and this and that. And they manipulate guys into thinking that, when that is not at all the case. That is not at even close to what they end up with. They're either either they have no clue how they are. They have no clue how they're hardwired, or they're lying. Either way, what they say is complete trash. Don't listen to what women say. Watch what they do and see their actual behavior. From what I've seen, women are attracted to or stick around guys who are taller, good looking, and a lot of times they have pretty bland personalities. They're just like nice, I guess you could say that word, bland as hell, or dark triad. One of those. But the almost constant is that the guy is physically attractive. That's one of the constants. I've seen nice guys who are kind of weak-hearted get with girls if they're good looking, and I've seen terrible trash human beings get with girls if they're good looking. But the thing that weirded me out was this guy wasn't exactly technically good looking. Well, I guess you could say in the female gaze he had some attractive quality, like he's thin, so his facial structure would show a little bit. So I guess that was attractive, I guess. I don't know. It was weird, though. It really weirded me out. It could have been drugs, because maybe this girl was way into drugs, but she acted so innocent. It was weird. There's another story I should tell you guys about some girl who robbed me when she was at my apartment. I could tell that was an interesting story, and it was very, very educational. But I'll say that next time. For now, that's it. I'm just disappointed and wanted to express what I was thinking. All right, guys. Oh, I had a date today. It wasn't a good date. It was some French chick that I met. She was not I wasn't really attracted to her. She looked way older than she was. She was apparently 21, and because she's on a vegan vegetarian diet, she's ending up looking like she's 27 or some shit. It was weird. She's thin and everything, which is good. She was like lean, which is I like. But it was one of those dates. Like I go out with her, and it was funny. I work out, right? So she was kind of cold the whole time until I took off my shirt and my muscles were showing. Then she started acting a lot more jolly and nice and polite. You'll notice that. It's so funny when I notice that. If a girl's treating you bad and you have a nice physique, right? Just keep talking to her for a bit. If she's like very bland and not into you, that's just her not physically attracted to you. Once if you have a nice physique, then, just show off your body or, something physically attractive. And once she feels physical attraction to you, she'll be nice. She'll start acting really nice to you. So I've noticed, I've had this happen. I've had women even tell me this. They've told me, I didn't know you had such a nice body. I would have been a lot nicer to you if I did. No, I've had women say that. So I don't have that nice of a body, but it's a lot more attractive than my height. Let's put it that way. But anyways, guys, all right, I'm going to get my food now. Thanks for listening. And if you like and subscribe, maybe this thing could grow and I could, spread some more of my stories here. Maybe they could help some people. All right. Yeah. All right. Goodbye, guys.